Hey, Matt.
Hey,
Sorry about that. I'm trying to get my other camera up right now, but it's not working.
are you in the office?
I am.
And you can hear me okay?
Yeah, I can. I just can't get my other camera. It doesn't want to work today.
Oh, well, turn your desk towards this camera or
Yeah,
turn
well,
your chair towards this camera, like
technology,
a side
man.
view.
Hold on, let me try something here. See if this works.
Carlin, on the strength of this giant rally we're having, we're down $2 on futures.
There we go. Let me get you over there. There we go. I hate looking down at stuff, man.
Yeah. Got bigger problems in this.
There
You've
we
been
go.
hitting the roids, haven't you?
Me?
Got like veins popping in your neck now.
Not recently. Not recently. How are you, man? Well, hey, welcome to Lunch with Lumberman with Matt Beamer from Hampton Lumber Sales. Greg is out in Scotland golfing, wearing his kilt right now, so he should be back at the at our next go around. Matt, I didn't even look. What is CME doing today?
Flat.
Flat.
July's down $1.60. SEP is down 310.
Mm-hmm.
And November's up 30 cents. So, I mean, literally just the definition of flat.
Right.
Volume's pretty low. There's only been about 400 trades all day. Probably mostly spreads.
Let's just go real quick. When we had our last meeting last week, we saw a little activity on some stuff. I mean, I guess I would say there's people buying some lumber. OSB and panels seem to be going the other direction right now. What are you seeing on your little neck of the woods that you live in as far as the spruce and the markets you trade in?
Lumber's firmed up. I mean, across the board. Started out the last 2 weeks, studs have been getting better, and now dimensions following. So, you know, if I go talk to any of the mills that I deal with on the outside here at Hampton, 2 weeks ago I could counter them $100. Last week I could counter them $50. Today I can counter them maybe $10. You know, it's there's just not a lot of counter out there right now, and part of it is the mills have adjusted their prices down quite a bit to get a lot closer to reality. And then the other part of it is there's been a lot more orders here recently. So, you know, mills can actually push back now on some of the harsher counter offers because they actually have data. Hey, we sold at this 3 cars yesterday, right? So we have I guess, what I call a normal market. And we're in the middle of a little bit of a buyer's rally. I'm not so sure we're going to get a massive price rally out of it, but at the very least, the mills are bolstering their order files and they're firming up their prices.
Yeah, I'm seeing that out there. They always say is order files got to lead price, right? I think we're going into those summer shutdowns at some of the eastern mills where they still run their planers. I think people are topping off some inventory. I don't see the same fear out there right now, though. Do you?
No, but I also don't. I mean, I don't think people really care much about summer shutdowns this year. The prevailing wisdom is nobody expects very much of it. You know, they think the mills are just going to run, and if they do shut down, nobody seems to really be all that concerned about it. I see more people concerned about fire season than mill shutdowns, and I can say the only thing that's really slowing production down in the Western United States right now is the wet spring. I don't know if you can see behind me. This is the first day that I've driven to work where I saw blue sky all year. I mean, it was. I played golf Friday. I was wearing winter clothes, dude. I had a stocking cap on. It was 47 degrees when I teed off at noon. You know, and we've had a really wet and cold spring. And so if you want to go into the forest and get logs right now, it's really tough. The roads are all sloppy and it's hard to get equipment in there. Like at Tillamook, our mill over on the Oregon coast, we've actually had to bring in some Doug fir logs for the first time in the history of that sawmill.
It's a big coastal Hemfer mill, right?
It's a massive coastal Hemper mill that is capable of producing 350 million board feet a year, and that's all it's ever produced is coastal hemlock
And just
in my
studs,
entire life.
and just studs, right? Mainly.
Dimension, it's all dimension. They
Oh,
make
I'm
long
sorry.
lengths. They make 2x4
Okay.
through 2x12 up to 26 feet. So, that's a big change that, we couldn't get the Hemper logs, and we've had to bring in some Duckburg. Yeah.
So when you talk to a lot of pretty intelligent traders, buyers, and sellers. What is the resounding theme that you keep hearing over the last few weeks? Is there anything out there? I mean, look at for months we talked about transportation. I was just looking on LinkedIn. Jory put something out. Anybody who's buying trucks right now, especially at Southern Pine, they're showing up like the next day or the next week, right? So logistics seem to be clear in most areas, unless Matt, as you and I know, certain areas in Texas are still tight, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But
Dealing with ports is a pain, right? So
it's
the rules a trucker needs a WIC card or TWIC card or whatever they call those things, and they got to show up with 5 different pieces of paper at a port facility to get loaded. That can be arduous at times, but trucking in general is way better than it was a month ago, and it's like night and day compared to 2 months ago. So trucking's not an issue. Rates are actually falling in some lanes. Rail is not really as bad either, although there's still problems in Canada, and there's still problems here in Oregon and Washington too. I mean, the UP keeps telling us that they don't have cars, but they've got 80 choo-choo trains stacked up on a side track, 5 miles away from a sawmill, but they're all in storage. They call it storage. So
yeah.
what they've done is what the railroads did over the last 2 years was lay a bunch of people off, and they haven't been able to rehire, and so they're short manpower. Therefore they're short locomotives and they're short operators. They just don't have as many people. Meanwhile, we just came through a real inflationary period. Lumber was going up, so we needed the railroad to actually increase capacity at the same time they were decreasing capacity. And now they're not. I don't think they're going to be able to increase capacity greatly. They don't seem to be overly interested in hiring more people. They don't seem overly interested in bringing those cars out of storage either. What they seem interested in is raising rates. And we're getting another rate rise here in about 3 weeks, middle of July, I think. The UP is going to give us another freight increase. I'm sure that the CN and the BN will continue to raise rates with the diesel prices where they are. So the railroads, I think, are going to continue to be a problem, right? I don't see the railroads getting better, whereas intermodal trucking and just over the road, long haul, short haul trucking is for sure eased up. We can move freight, and we can negotiate freight on trucks. And you might see where it's actually about the same price to truck stuff from our sawmills to, like, say, Denver, right?
Yeah, you and I talked about that 4 months ago, 3 months ago in the trucking and rail. You could actually truck, you could truck a lot farther than you can now, though. That makes absolute sense. Have you guys looked into doing any of that at all? Matt, or is that just not?
Of course. Sense? I mean, this last month we've been able to move wood because, like everybody, we were part of the sell-off in lumber, and the price of lumber going down 65%. It really kind of shortened our order files, right? But let's just rewind the clock about 60 days. 60 days ago, all of our mills were having trouble getting rail cars, and all of our reloads were having trouble getting rail cars. And this is the stuff that we control. I'm just talking about Hampton places, not outside places. But then if you toured the industry and you called like Fraser or Canfor or Toco, or if you called all the big U.S. mills, they all had the same problems too. They couldn't get rail cars. They were having trouble finding truck freights. We were shuffling wood from one place to another just to get it out, right? I mean, we were trucking stuff instead of railing it just to get it invoiced. And so we did that because we had to, right? I mean, we can't just have lumber stack up and never ship it. That doesn't work. You go broke.
Right.
But now I think we might do it because it's economically feasible, right? So if you can truck something to Colorado for $130 a thousand, and it costs $110 a thousand to put it on a rail car, why wouldn't you just truck it for the extra 20, $30, right? Most people would probably pay the extra 20, 30 just to get it trucked anyhow. They get it faster, right?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. One of the things I'm seeing out going on right now is the big jobbers that you and I all know, and even people that recently became long-term buyers of lumber for multifamily, have and still are buying for projects 2, 3, 4, 5 months out, right?
Yeah.
Some of them are putting it on the ground. Some of them are pushing risk onto other people that normally do that. But I'm still seeing a lot of that, and that's a world that you live in too, Matt. Are you still seeing that out there right now? In certain
For sure, they all, especially even this week, there's been a lot of that recently because that part of the market is healthy. I think rents are going up, and the incentive, the profit incentive to the builder is still high to build multifamily.
Yeah.
Whereas, maybe the single family sector isn't quite as profitable with the higher interest rates. And so, yeah, we're seeing a shift from the retail lumber business, talking the pro yards, really kind of driving the business for the last 7 or 8 months since November.
Mm-hmm.
That part of the market really pushed prices up the most. And then now they're sort of receding. They're still doing fine. Don't kid yourself. We're at 1.4 million housing starts. It's not like we're, oh my, the world's coming to an end. No, we're not there. But they're slowing down, right? Their willingness to keep investing in 4-digit lumber is gone, and they're going to run their business a lot more conservatively for the second half of the year. At the same time, the multifamily guys it's like full steam ahead, man. Hey, we got projects that we've been sitting on for a year or two, and now we like these prices. We're going to go ahead and pull the trigger, And then on top of that, there's even more coming down the pipe behind it, because building a 400 unit apartment complex looks like an investment right now, right? It looks like an investment than building 400 single family homes. So that is a part of the market, that and industrial, and also the retail trade, like the home center business right now is starting to perk back up again. So you're seeing some good signs in lumber that have nothing to do with single family homes.
Yeah, no doubt. One of the things that I've seen off and on the platform, but off the platform last week, and talking to some people this week, and so the big trading houses, or the larger trading houses in the world, they have this, they're not taking as much risk right now because they don't want to give back what they made in the first quarter, right? So I don't think, and also where we're at in the volatility is a lot of uncertainty. So what I heard is some of these big trading houses have these basically, I don't know if rules, or they've had discussions. We don't want you going long or going short big blocks of anything, right? I mean, does that make sense, Matt? And unless you have people doing that, you won't have a sustained rally, right? Because you need shorts to move it up, and you need big people willing to take on longs. But what I am seeing is, especially like on the panel and OSB side, big mills going to select people to move off large chunks of wood secretly under the quote unquote table, right? Which nothing gets done secretly in this industry. It shows up right away. Sure. But when there's deals like that out there, why would you want to take risk? You just go and use your platform or your facility to sleeve that stuff through what the mills want to move and make money in the same point. So that's what I've been seeing the last few weeks.
Well, I'm kind of curious because I'm not a panel guy.
Mm-hmm.
What's changed in the panel business here in the last year or so? Because a year ago, OSB and plywood, you couldn't even get it. I mean, there was, this because it was a shock when it started showing up on your platform, correct? And you had a lot of liquidity. Initially, you had a lot of liquidity on OSB when it started to show up on your platform.
Well, when you have people
and
selling
now, And
yeah,
now the mills are cutting secret deals because they can't make all their product go away. I don't really understand what changed. Is there a whole bunch of new production that came on the market that I'm unaware of?
I don't
Really,
know if
I'd like to have a panel guy explain it to me.
yeah, I don't know if they're not really secret deals. They just need to move up more volume, right? So when there was more listed on our platform, that means people had a lot of excess inventory. They were buying more. Let's face it, OSB, when it gets to a certain price, you can store it for a year or two if you wanted to inside.
Yeah.
You can, multifamily uses it all the time. People, when they were buying 10 instead of 5, that was an easy thing to buy, right? You'd buy a lot of it.
Sure.
And if you had excess, you built the mill's order file out. Now they just don't have as much takeaway like everybody else, and they're looking to move it. And they find ways to move. One thing they do is a great job. They find a way to sell it every week, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's through a buying group or through a large trading company, but I heard some pretty big blocks traded into different areas last week. And the thing that I always try to glean out of that is, boy, what do they know that we don't know, wanting to move that much, right?
I mean, obviously they're not able to move it through the same channels that they have already established. That's why you would go outside of it, right? I mean,
right. That's maybe just the market we're in right now, right? And that could change. I mean, maybe they don't have as much home center outtake, right? Maybe they don't have as much going to their contract. People have backed off a little bit. I mean, look at some of these large yards that we talk to. You and I know some of them that are now run by, I think maybe you basically said, did you say this last week or 2 weeks ago? It's the C-suite that's telling these people how to buy now, right?
Well, when the markets get riled up the way when markets fall quickly, right? I'm really addressing a situation that's only relevant to when markets are falling rapidly. Yeah. When markets are falling rapidly, like in chunks, $50, $100, that kind of stuff, when things become, well, I guess you would call dire or panicky, then at that moment, the boss man walks into the sales office and tells everybody, get rid of this stuff. And then the other boss man goes into the retail lumberyard buying office and tells everybody to put the PO books away. Yeah. And transfer inventory around from your different yards and just get rid of it. So I always joke about we're in the portion of the market where the CEOs and the CFOs are making the decisions on how to trade lumber rather than the actual traders. But that's past. I think we're now back to the market where my opinion matters, your opinion, my customer's opinion matters. They get to go ahead and make their own decisions again, and everybody stop panicking. So yeah, we're back to normal.
Agreed. I think that's we've kind of blown through the what do they call that in crypto? The crypto winter. We've blown through the lumber winter on this, right? I think we're probably coming out on the other side and have a little bit more, as you know, this week, a little bit more liquidity, and you're able to negotiate some better things and probably make some money back to back in some things right now.
Hey, did you ever buy crypto, buddy?
Yeah, I did, and bought it and sold it.
How would you like to be, Honduras or Argentina or one of these national banks came out and bought a whole bunch of crypto at like 32,000 when it was half price, and then went down to 18. Like, whoops, there goes my pension fund for all of the federal employees.
I don't know enough about it. I just knew none of it made any sense to me. So I tried to get in the musical chairs game where I bought it and sold it before while I still had a seat to sit down at.
What about an NFT? Have you bought those too? Do you own the monkey art?
They make absolutely zero sense to me. And anybody that buys one of those, God bless you. But I mean, any buying any type of digital art to me, I don't get it. So
to me, an NFT was like a Ponzi scheme, is what it sounded like. I'm like, that doesn't really make much sense. So I'm going to buy a digital key to a piece of art. Woohoo! Yeah. Why don't I just buy the art?
No doubt.
How about you just send me the painting instead?
What all are you sitting on the Hampton trading floor talking about right now? Just keep stuff moving. Stay like you as a trader. What do you want to do? I mean, are you building any big positions? Are you just trying to manage what you currently have? Like How are you reading the market in this uncertainty, and what are you going out to do and telling customers?
I'm buying a little bit more lumber. My PO book is open, and I'm able to engage with both the customers and the sawmills in terms of my trading strategies. Am I buying big chunks of lumber like I would have, say, back in February? No, I'm buying small little chunks of lumber, and I'm just rinse and repeat. I'm taking small little positions, and I think that's prudent. It's summertime. As along the lines of what your comment was here a few minutes ago about the big trading houses telling their guys don't take big risks. Well, I think that's prudent, right? I think that
Absolutely.
makes a lot of sense.
It
We
totally
just had
does.
a massive rally and deflation. We've never seen, as our industry has never seen the kind of volatility that we've just experienced for the last 2.5 years. And, I think it's over, but I could be wrong. We might see another massive rally this fall. I don't really know. If I could tell you the future, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now. I'd be on an island somewhere that I own, right? But
well, I hope I'd be sitting on that island talking with you.
yeah, you'd be in like my cabana boy. Hey, can you get me another beer and clean the pool, Ashley? But no, I think that is to me, that makes the most sense during the summer months to just kind of pull back a little bit and be real selective about your trading. My personal opinion is I don't think we're going anywhere for the rest of the year. I just think that we're going to have little $100, $200 rallies to the upside, followed by deflation, and you'll see lower lows and lower highs throughout the rest of the year, with some good little rallies here and there that are sprinkled in. That could be based on, well, we didn't buy lumber for 2 months, now we need to replenish, which is kind of what's going on right now, right? We might have a market in August or September that's related to hurricane season or fire season, or logging issues. These things happen every year. You might get into next winter and the CN all of a sudden stops doing their job again, and all of a sudden people need lumber all at the same time, where you get another big rally based on transportation issues. So these things are all possible in the future. I'm just taking the wait and see attitude. Like, okay, prove it. Like, was it Missouri, the show me state? Isn't that where you went to college?
Yes, that is the show. It is the show me state.
Yeah, I'm in the show me attitude when it comes to lumber these days. I don't think it's bad.
What is Oregon? What state is that? What does it say on your driver's license?
I don't know, man. It's like I couldn't tell you. The Beaver State. That's all I know.
Is that what it is?
We're the Beaver State. Yes.
Okay.
You know what the state bird of Oregon is?
What?
The meadowlark.
Okay. All right.
You have those in?
We've got them in Illinois and we had them in Missouri in the Midwest. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's the state bird. I would have thought it'd be like the bald eagle or a red-tailed hawk or something, but nope, meadowlark.
I got you. All right. Well,
is it still hot over there in Chicago, buddy?
So yesterday it was 100. Yeah, yesterday it was 100. Jory just said Oregon state motto is "She flies with her own wings." That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's deep.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, it was 100 degrees yesterday, 90-ish the day before, and it went right from 60 to like 100 in 12 hours. Which I don't mind 100-degree heat. It's just hard when you're sitting out on your deck the day before and it's 65, 70, and then you walk to work the next day and it's 100, right?
Oh,
but
Midwest humidity, that 100 degrees and 90% humidity, it just.
Matt, I was prepped for the 9 years I spent in Houston. It was just like walking around Houston,
I mean, you get hot weather in Illinois in the summer. It's not just Houston.
All
right?
the time. All the time. Yeah, we always get hot
I remember
weather.
visiting you down in Houston, and we were walking around the city at like midnight. It was 95 degrees still.
Yeah, and humid.
Remember that? I was down there like in May one year, and you and I were walking around this downtown Houston at like midnight. It's 95 and 95% humidity. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, look if you want to get a hold of Matt, go to Matt Beamer at Hampton Lumber Sales. I think I got your email I can throw up here, Matt.
Matt Beamer at HamptonLumber.com.
Matt Beamer at HamptonLumber.com, and come to MXLumber.com. Hey, we're just about getting ready to roll out our new user interface in the next few months, which will be a great experience for the users. But if you're new to buying lumber and you buy volume of lumber, whether you're a multifamily builder, heck, if you even want to call, we've put together some things through other people that we know to multifamily people that have never bought lumber before in the last few months here on firm pricing. We even helped some people set up logistical facilities to bring it in and ship in trucks if they never knew how to do it before. So if you want to do that, you can get a hold of us at mxlumber.com. And, we're here to help create more transparency, shrink the supply chain a little bit, and create a better user experience for people that want to buy and sell lumber out there. So there's
man.
Yeah. There's my
That's
email,
great.
Ashby at materialsexchange.com. And we'll look forward to hearing you. Matt Lehman and I will be on tomorrow at Lunch with Lumbermen. And everybody loves going to that. So we'll see you at noon Chicago time tomorrow. Otherwise, Matt, thanks for coming, and I'll let you back at it.
Thanks, buddy. Have a great day. Enjoy your 100 degrees.
You bet.